Uzas turned to face the opening door. He'd been standing in the center of the cell, staring at the wall, thinking of Blood's scent, the thin oil feel of it on his face and fingers, and the stinging, addictive warmth of its bitter sweetness running over his gums and tongue. A god's name hid within that taste, within the touch, and within the scent. A god he loathed but praised, for the promise of power. "I knew you would come," he said to the figure in the doorway. "After Villamus, after what you said in the fortress, I knew you would come." His brother entered the small chamber, a Spartan echo of Uzas's former bare cell back on the Covenant. Truly, it took little effort to recreate such a lack of comfort. All it lacked was the heap of skulls, bones, and old scrolls forming a midden in the corner. "I didn't kill him," Uzas murmured. "Does that matter?" "It would matter if it was the truth." Uzas hunched his shoulders. Anger threaded through him at the accusation, but true rage, let alone wrath, was sluggish in his veins this night. He didn't rant and rave this time. He didn't have it in him. What use to rebel against the inevitable? "I did not kill Archaea," Uzas said, taking great care with each word. "That is the last time I will tell you, Talos. Do whatever you wish. Archaea was the last in a long, long line, brother. Before him there was Zen, and Grillath, and Farik. Before them there was Rovasia. Before her, Jaina, Kerin, and Ulivan. You have butchered your way through the Covenant's crew for more than a century, and you carry the blame for the deaths of Third Claw. I will not let you do that on the Echo of Damnation." Uzas actually chuckled. "Am I to blame for every murder that ever took place on the Covenant's hallowed decks, am I? All? No. But blood is on your hands from a great many of them. Do not deny it." He didn't deny it. Denial would neither serve nor save him anyway. "My trial is done then. Carry out the sentence." Uzas lowered his head, feeling both hearts beating harder. This was it. His skull would roll free. No more pain. Never, ever again. But the prophet didn't reach for his weapons. The silence made Uzas raise his eyes in dull, slow surprise. "You have been judged." Talos said the words with a care equal to Uzas's denial. "And you are bound by Legion law." Uzas stood impassive, saying nothing. "The judgment is condemnation. You will stain your gauntlets with the red of a sinner's last oath, and when your lord demands your life, you will offer your throat to the edge of his blade." Uzas snorted, not far from a laugh. The tradition was rare, even in the 8th Legion's glory days, and he doubted many warbands carried the practice with them down so many centuries. On Nostramo, members of gangs or families that betrayed their sworn oaths would sometimes be sentenced to delayed executions, so they might work off their sins in purgatorial duties before final justice was done. The homeworld's tradition of tattooing the condemned's hands bled into the Legion as a more obvious repainting of his gauntlets. To have hands stained sinners red was to show the world that you lived on the sufferance of others, and that you could never be trusted again. "Why not just execute me?" "Because you have duties to fulfill for the Legion before you're allowed to die." Uzas mused on this, insofar as he ever mused on anything anymore. "The others wanted me dead, didn't they?" "They did. But the others do not lead. I do. The judgment was mine to make." Uzas looked at his brother. After a time, he nodded. "I hear and obey. I will stain my hands." Talos turned to leave. "Meet me on the bridge in 1 hour. We have one last matter to deal with." "The Atramentar?" "No, I think they went down with the Covenant." "That does not sound like the Atramentar," Uzas pointed out. Talos shrugged and left. The door slid closed, and Uzas stood alone again. He looked down at his hands, seeing them for the last time in midnight clad. The sense of loss was real enough, cold enough, to make him shiver. Then, with a moment of confusion, he glanced around and wondered where he was going to find red paint.